3.
As long as it's speaking of it.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay. Also did this, so everything falls into
Good morning. It's 10:01 a.m. on Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Fincannon will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for all your blessings, Lord. Thank you for the good rain we've had. You know that our land needs it, our lakes need it. I just pray, Lord, that you send us some more with not quite as much flooding. Lord, you know we have family, friends that are going through medical procedures and having medical issues, and I pray, Lord, that you lay your healing hand on them, be with them, Lord, to heal them, Lord. Be with us today, Lord, as we make decisions for the county, do the best, make the most wise decisions we can for the citizens of Wichita County, Lord. Be with our government leaders as they make decisions for our country moving forward. All this we ask for through your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone, you be seated. Hey, Matt, would you mind letting the folks here for the proclamation that we're about to do theirs? Just in the hallway.
The dogs.
The dogs.
The dogs.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
We need to have that pre-queued now.
Keeper of records and welcome our dog.
I'm good. How are you doing? Come on up here. Come on up here.
Hey there.
How are you today? I'm good.
Now that's a big old friendly looking dog there. Looky here, looky here.
Oh, man.
Just a little guy. Just a little guy.
All right, if y'all can see, it is we do proclamations often. This one may be a first, a unique one. We're doing a proclamation for National Therapy Animal Day. So I'll read the proclamation and then give y'all a chance to say a few words if you'd like to. There are thousands of pet partners therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States. And whereas Pet Partners has designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day, and whereas scientific research shows that interacting with therapy animals can reduce stress, relieve depression, slow heart rate, lower blood pressure, and strengthen the immune system, and whereas therapy animal teams in the town of Wichita Falls play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the human-animal bond, and whereas therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our communities, including veterans, seniors, patients, students, and those approaching the end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions bring comfort and healing to those in need, and whereas we encourage more pet owners to consider becoming Pet Partners volunteers to help our community by creating greater access to meaningful therapy animal visits. Now therefore, the Wichita County Commissioners Court hereby proclaims April 30th, 2024 as National Therapy Animal Day in Wichita County and encourages our citizens to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, we publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and in communities across the nation. Would any of y'all like to say anything about what y'all do?
So, I guess I'm kind of in charge. I actually work at PetSmart, and I'm going to be training all of them to get where they are. I have tons of them, so this is just a few that I can make it this morning. And I think everybody's gonna, like, he does home visits, he goes to Sheridan, they're going to Sheridan, and then there's a few other, like, you said children's home you can invite to.
Mm-hmm.
So we're slowly starting to make more and more strides and stuff like that. So if you know anybody who wants a therapy visit, you can always contact me. That's where I'm Rachel. By the way, the dog trainer, this is my dog Hooper. We've only been doing therapy a few months because we kind of got slowly getting my trainer first. But I'm Rachel. This is Gary and Petra. This is Drea and Dakota, Elaine and Hooper, Fred and Blue, Stephanie and Clay.
if those want to get involved with y'all, with the pet partners, how would they do so?
I'm at Smart Tuesdays, Saturdays, all day, because we call it, we go, hey, when you're going to go there, go, they bring them in, you do the evaluation, and we decide how much training they need and stuff like that, we can get most styles where they need to be.
Okay.
One other thing, they all are certified through
ADT Alliance,
Alliance, they go, all they have to do is go on the website and put down, they want to visit, and you get the, zip code, and it will come up with a lot of our names. And everything, yeah, everything.
And then that's for those who want to bring their animals to their. Well, excellent.
I do have a therapy dog in training, and I think Petra's my dog's training partner, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a Sunday. So, yeah, my wife and dog Sunday, missed taking her first test by one day. She was supposed to test Sunday. And she was not a year old yet, but.
Yeah, June 30th is when she's gonna retest,
Yeah.
and the evaluators were like, oh yeah, she's gonna pass with flying colors. So,
What we're wanting to do with our dog is to do therapy with children that are maybe coming to court and need some calming down and things like that. So that's what we're looking for.
Excellent.
So thank you all for what you do.
Yes.
It's a lot of people don't even realize that there are therapy animals that go into hospitals, that go into children's homes, nursing homes, and provide a little comfort.
our next step is getting on the base and visiting the base, that's our next step.
Good deal. We normally get around here for a picture. I think there's too many of that, so I'd ask Tom to take one from over here.
You got a whole set on there, I promise.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to come to do this today and for what you do. We appreciate you. And I will give, I guess, the proclamation to you or.
And you are more than welcome to stay for court, or you don't have to.
We may need the therapy dogs afterwards.
Whether y'all want to stay either way.
Well,
He does talk.
very good pause.
He has mesmerizing eyes.
You guys have something to say about pretty much everything.
Thank you all so much for being here. For what you do, we appreciate you.
See, I have my own therapy dog. Usually,
Yep. That's true.
but I have to call every day. Have a good day, Gary.
Yeah, except got audio issues. So. Everyone, we're having the audio issue right now, so we'll sit tight until that's fixed. Hold on 1 second, Ms. Vagans.
Amy, it's mosquito season again.
It is mosquito. We're going from the thing everybody loves with dogs to the thing no
Yeah.
one loves with mosquitoes.
I had
So
my
it's-
first one just evening, just about dusk. I
Uh-huh.
thought, uh-oh, here they are.
'Tis the season.
Yeah,
Rain fills the lakes and
yeah,
brings mosquitoes.
and the ditches.
Yep.
I think we have got 10 inches in the last month. 10 inches, right?
I think I was reading Lynn's story about, did you do the lakes story yesterday or 2 days ago? Yeah, 14 inches compared to 7 normally so far this year?
Yeah, for the year,
Yeah.
yeah, we got 3.7 inches officially in that rain, probably more elsewhere around the area.
It's nice.
The storms moved right over some of the
Watershed.
watersheds out there, yeah.
That's good. All right, we are back. Audio's back up and running correctly. So at this time, I'll invite Amy Fagan, Director of Health for Wichita Falls, Wichita County Public Health District, to come up and make a presentation on vector control. Oh, hold on.
When your PowerPoint comes, it'll advance the slides.
When the PowerPoint comes, that'll look down to the slides. So, thank you all for having us this morning. One of the things I committed to when I had our budget hearings last year was that we would spend more time here at Commissioners Court and talk about things that weren't STIs. So today, we are happy to talk to you about vector control. I know everyone always has a lot of questions about that. I brought people who are our subject matter experts. Samantha Blair's the Environmental Health Administrator, and Drew Skinner will be giving the presentation this morning, and he is the vector control supervisor and knows all of the things. So I'm going to hand that over to him.
Okay. And if you will, when you come up, just reintroduce yourself. And what your role is.
Sure. So my name's Andrew Skinner, and I'm the Vector Control Coordinator for the Health District. So I'm the coordinator, but I'm definitely don't do all the work. So I want to take a second so that everybody can be introduced to the team. We have 4 daytime vector control technicians, and they're pictured there with the arrows. We've got Velvet, Ray, Stephanie, and Jill. And then we also have 2 night sprayers that they're actually full-time City of Wichita Falls employees, and they kind of moonlight as vector control sprayers, and so they're not pictured there. These workers, each of them work 20 hours a week. They're seasonal part-time workers with no benefits. So each of them works about 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. So a little bit of context about our program, just so we can all be on the same page. There is a natural limitation on program resources. So what that means is that we have a large area to cover. There are lots of mosquitoes in the county, and we have to focus our efforts on our core mission of preventing vector-borne disease. So we're at the health department, and we have to prevent mosquitoes from making people sick. Mosquitoes are the primary insect vector locally and globally, meaning they're the primary thing that makes insect that makes people sick. There are many different types of mosquitoes in Texas and here in Wichita County, but most of them don't transmit disease. So our program focuses really on one species called the Culex cuencae fasciatus mosquito, also known as the southern house mosquito, and because that is the local vector of West Nile virus. And then we have a large jurisdiction. We have a big job. We cover all of the City of Wichita Falls and all of the unincorporated areas of the county. And as you guys know, the county is pretty big for all of us to cover. So a little bit of basics about how mosquitoes work. Mosquitoes have 4 stages to their life cycle. The biggest thing to remember is that their juvenile stage requires water, so they live in water. So eggs hatch into water, and then the larvae live in water, and then eventually turn into a pupa, which is the equivalent of a cocoon for like a butterfly. That pupa eventually goes to the surface of the water, and an adult mosquito emerges out, flies away, and bites somebody. So West Nile virus, basics of West Nile virus. The West Nile virus is primarily a disease of birds. So the way it works is if a bird has West Nile virus in their blood and a mosquito bites them, it gets it into their salivary glands, and then they can go bite another bird and transmit it to them. Humans, where we fall on this cycle, is that we are a dead-end host. We're incidental. So if a mosquito bites an infected bird and then bites us, we get West Nile virus. But if a mosquito bites a human who has West Nile virus and then bites another human, it won't transmit West Nile virus. So this is primarily a disease circulates in birds. Horses are also affected by West Nile virus. Just a little bit, and inside birds, not all birds are affected by it the same. Some birds don't get sick at all, like chickens and pigeons, and some birds get very sick very quick and die from it. And so crows, jays, and other corded birds. The ones we worry about are the ones in the middle who have the virus at a certain load that it can transmit it along. And so in Texas, those are going to be cardinals and mourning doves. Those are the main drivers of West Nile virus. In humans, when a person gets West Nile virus, it can be a very serious disease. Most people, about 80% of people, won't have any symptoms at all. Their immune system will fight it off. A small portion, about 20%, will get a little bit of like a flu-like illness that can last a few weeks to a few months. And then a small portion, about 1 in 150 people, will develop a neuroinvasive disease. So that disease affects the central nervous system. It can cause encephalitis and swelling of the brain and long-term consequences, lifelong. And 1 in 10 people who get this will die. The Culex quinque fasciatus mosquito, the one of our focus. Go ahead.
Question quick.
Yeah.
1 in 10 that show the severe symptoms, or
Yeah.
1 in 10 in total? That get
1 in 10 people who get the neuroinvasive,
Okay, all right.
if it gets into their central nervous system. But it's still, not good,
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 in 1,500 though, compared to 1 in 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to make sure I understood that.
Right. So the Culex quinque fasciatus mosquito, the one of focus here, it's a tan brown mosquito. It really doesn't have any ways to distinguish it, other than being tan or brown. It is a specialist of birds, so it really likes to feed on birds, but it will feed on humans or mammals that are in the area, and that's why it's so bad for West Nile virus. And you can see on the map to the right there, depending on where you are in the country, different mosquitoes are your primary vector, but here in the south, Culex quinque fasciatus. So this mosquito really likes nasty water to breed in. So it lays its eggs in water that has a lot of organic material. It might have sat around for a long time, very nasty, stinky water. It lays its eggs on top of the water, and then they eventually hatch into there, and it takes about 7 to 10 days after that for them to emerge as adults. These are nighttime biting mosquitoes, so usually during the daytime you're not going to see them, but once the sun goes down, they'll bite all night. So we have a special tool. This is actually probably one of the main tools that we use, and it's a trap. So this is specially designed for those Culex mosquitoes. And the way this works is that it's a trap not to collect them and reduce their numbers, but to use as a surveillance tool. So we fill the bottom black tub with nasty, stinky water that we brew up ourselves to attract a mosquito to it to try to lay eggs in it. And when that female mosquito, who has taken a blood meal, because female mosquitoes need to take a blood meal in order to lay eggs, it will get sucked into the trap, and then we send those mosquitoes collected to the state laboratory, which tests them for West Nile virus and a few other things. So this is an early detection warning system for where in the county birds have West Nile virus and then have transferred it to mosquitoes. So we have now 9 traps. We set them 4 trap nights a week, so 36 trap nights per week altogether. And we rotate them throughout the city and county. The bulk of our time is probably also spent doing larviciding. So we go out throughout the county, find where the water is standing, and then treat it with granules or briquettes or something that will stop mosquitoes from emerging into adults. And then our final tool is, and probably the most visible, is our spray truck. Even though this is the most visible tool, it is probably the least effective and most expensive. And that's because, if you could imagine, once the mosquitoes emerge from the water and fly away, it's a lot harder to get to them. So we try to get to them in the water. But it can be very useful in specific situations. Whenever we detect West Nile virus in mosquitoes, then the spray truck is the only thing that will kill adult mosquitoes. So that's why we use it in conjunction with the traps. So I meant to probably remove this, so to save us all a little bit of time in reading, the bottom sentence there is really the point that I wanted to get to. Over time, we have been trying to make our program more efficient because in the past, some of our time has not always been spent treating. So we go to a lot of places where sometimes it holds water and sometimes it doesn't, and we're not always finding mosquitoes there. We're spending a lot of time, looking, but not always finding. And then sometimes we'll go to all of our spots. So here's an example. So the city is divided into sectors. City and county are divided into sectors, and each sector has a map. And on that map, we have drawn breeding places. And so the technicians go through the maps, kind of go 1 through 10, and check each of the known breeding places. The problem is that this doesn't get everything. So we'll go and treat everything. There will still be a lot of mosquitoes. So we've kind of had to modernize. And so recently so that's just, again, an example of what I was saying. So we've tried to modernize by using ArcMap technology, so a desktop GIS system that we can make some new maps. And so we've been able to, and over the past year, make a whole bunch of new maps that show a lot of places in the county that breed mosquitoes that we haven't been treating normally. And so we're going to use this system to optimize our efforts. And a good example of that is our storm drain map book. There are about 4,800 storm drains across the city of Wichita Falls, and trying to map them out ourselves and treat them without the use of this program is very difficult. And so here's a kind of an example of what that looks like. Computer generated 100 different maps across the city, kind of counts up everything for you, shows everything, and we're really kind of getting closer to covering all of the mosquito breeding places that we can. So our current project, really all of the stuff that I've already talked about is good, but most of the public doesn't know about it. So what we're really focusing on right now is improving communication with the public so that we can get all of this specialized information to them in a digestible format. So our current project is to improve communication and information sharing with the public. Put an exclamation point because we find it very important. So we're doing that with a few different things. Community outreach, so we're out there at community events trying to talk to people, making little games, going to career days, going to talk to kids, trying to get our name out there. We've created a citizen survey to see what people like about the mosquito program, what they want to see, what they don't like, and all this is really culminating in an internet presence with an interactive mosquito map. So the interactive mosquito map we wanted to use because we get a lot of phone calls. So many that it makes it hard for us to go out into the field, and call back everybody and talk to everybody. So we want a central place for people to get all of this information. And so we tried to do that last year with the interactive mosquito map, and this might look familiar. We use a color-coded system to kind of convey what risk you're at depending on what part of the county you're in. And so over the past year, this is kind of what it looked like through select weeks. It was a good attempt, but the feedback from the public is they didn't quite understand it. We had problems putting the legend on the map, and basically it was not clear enough. And so we're kind of looking at some different things. ArcMap is actually a quite old program, so we're going to transition to ArcGIS Online, which will allow us to put an online portal on the website, which will have information in an easy-to-use manner. So this is an example from a city in Arizona, and it's got all of their stormwater stuff, but it's easy to see in those widgets there. And some other examples, you can display all sorts of data, so we can show where traps are set and where they've been positive and how many mosquitoes and where we've treated. We can put all of the stuff on my computer on the internet so people can see it. And then we'll pair that with other communication tools, like things like a story map, which you can just combine a place on the map with a picture with a little story so people can understand what is going on. Maybe make a little YouTube video. This one's from Tarrant County Mosquito Control. 15,000 views just to talk about how to control mosquitoes, how it all works. And then I try to go fast through all this, so I think this is important because this is what a lot of people in the county experience. So we talked about Culex quincunx fasciatus, but there are a lot of other mosquitoes that bother people. So in the county, if you're anywhere near the irrigation district, you probably know, and actually everybody will know after these rains, floodwater mosquitoes. So these mosquitoes are a little bit different because they lay their eggs in mud or in places where they know will have water. So they're already ahead of the game. And as soon as water gets there, They hatch and go through their life cycle quickly and emerge in high numbers. And these are extremely aggressive mosquitoes. They're hard to control because they are usually across private lands. They have long flight ranges. So these guys are all going to become familiar to people. Aedes vexans in the top left corner, that's mostly associated with the irrigation district, any of those canals that are overflowing into fields or ditches. Aedes vexans is going to come from those. And if you're anywhere near Lake Wichita, you also have experienced these. Aedes solicitans in the bottom right-hand corner. That's the eastern salt marsh mosquito. We think it's breeding along the dried up coastline of the lake. So as water drains into there, it sits under those dried up reeds and it breeds these very annoying mosquitoes. So that is it.
How long does that egg stay viable in dry soil?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure, but I know for a long time. I think years.
Yes, the raw for us specifically, I know can be 8 to 10 years
Yeah.
in the right conditions.
Yeah. A long time, as long as it's, in the right conditions.
That makes this a little bit of a problem, doesn't it?
Yes, a little
Yeah.
bit. So I think I'm past my time. You guys have any questions?
Very
No,
informative.
Yeah, very thorough too.
Great.
No, we have no questions, that's a rarity for us.
Okay, good. That's good.
We're not through, Jeff.
Yes.
We're not through.
Thank you.
Andy, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate the time and the continued support.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have a presentation by Dee Van Winkle from the Wichita Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau regarding the announcement of the host city for the West Texas County Judges and Commissioners Association Conference in 2026. I asked Dee to come because got some exciting news last week, for us specifically, but for the community as a whole. So,
Yes.
Dee, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, would you like handouts?
We love handouts.
Yeah.
You have candy to go with it?
So sorry. Go sit in there and give back.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Go and give one to Nancy's.
Okay, so the last time we hosted this convention was in 2015. I believe Commissioner Muller, you were there.
I was here. You bet.
In Midland or Odessa when we bid on it in 2013. So we did host in 2015. We've bid on it a couple of times since, but last week they did announce that we won, and we'll be hosting the convention on April 21st through the 24th in 2026. This event brings in like 450 people. So we're going to put a lot of heads in beds in our hotels. We're using the Delta Hotel by Marriott will be the host hotel, and the Fairfield and Residence Inn will be the overflow hotels. Tuesday night is court night, so we'll need to discuss that if y'all need any assistance from me on what you plan to do.
Mark's already got that planned. Don't you?
I have some ideas.
You got some ideas. We've already talked about it, yeah.
Well, that's great.
Mm.
So the CVB is providing complimentary meeting space at the MPEC for this event, and of course VIP gift baskets, our goodie bags, printed name badges, and information booth. And of course, we'll help with the planning for events, food and beverage, tours, anything like that. And we also will put out a press release to the area media. So Wednesday night, Warren Cat will host a barbecue dinner. And right now that will be held at the MPEC. Then on, sorry, the tours, we're looking at taking the group to the Apache Lone Star Casino. It just opened up. It was a soft opening, and they'll have their grand opening next month. But the Apache Lone Star Casino is gonna provide complimentary transportation and $10 in free play to all attendees. So that's been proposed. And then for the spousal tours, we've discussed taking them to either the Horseshoe Bend Cellars Winery, 6th Street Winery, or OG Cellars Tasting Room and Wine Bar.
I sense a theme.
Also on that tour, we could mix it up with the Oil Barons tour, the history of Wichita Falls, taken to the Kemp Center of the Arts, see the art display, or have a painting class at How Great Thou Art. So there's still a lot of things in the planning stage, but this is what we have so far.
Got about 710 days to plan.
Yes, yes.
Do you, Dee, do you think, so it's been 11 years when it comes time since we will have last hosted this. I'm guessing new hotel and convention center was a huge part of why we were able to win now versus, because y'all have made bids throughout that last decade, right?
Yes, you are correct. They prefer everything to be under one roof or in close proximity, as do most conventions. And so now we have that to offer. And yeah, I think that's what helped us win the bid, most definitely.
Well, talking to board members that were on this committee, the facilities, the Delta and the Impact were the key factors in this. So, you know, people can say what they want to say, good or bad about the hotel, but it will bring a different group of people here and more people.
Oh, absolutely.
So the people that have been here from that board that came in and looked at it, they love the facility. It's a great hotel. It's a very nice facility. Compared to the ones we go to, I would say it's as good as any that we go to.
Every bit as good as anything we've been to. And it's exact right size for something like this, so it's perfect.
You were mentioning that Warren Cat does that barbecue. Warren Cat doesn't just do a barbecue. Warren Cat does a really good barbecue. It's really good.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we'll have a theme. Guess you'll need to come up with a theme.
A theme, we can come up with a theme.
Yeah.
We don't want to let Mark have full choice of that, but we will have to work on it.
I think last year when I presented, I know it was Commissioner Watts, or was it you? With the Hawaiian thing?
Oh, that was Mark.
That was Mark.
That's Mark.
And I'm not opposed to,
Wearing a Florida wine shirt.
Well, we'll be making, we'll be getting with you on that and starting the planning. I was just excited to see that we had won that for the first time in over a decade, and the amount of people and revenue it'll bring to the city and to the county is a huge deal. So, thank you for your work and making that presentation and bid package. Any other questions?
Now, that West Texas meeting is one of the better meetings in the state of Texas, and I think one of the biggest.
It is. It's as big as the state convention. So how many people generally are we?
450 to 500.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
And they plan the meals around 450 people, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We may have to upgrade security there for about 3 days, right?
And the best part is we don't have to drive 4 or 5 hours to go somewhere. So
That is the best part.
And I will be in Abilene next year at the convention, and I'll have a booth promoting Wichita
Good.
Falls for 2026.
Abilene does a very
So
good job.
If anyone has any questions, they can stop by the booth and tell them all about Wichita Falls.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Dee, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to public comments. It is 10:36. We'll open up for public comment. We ask that comments be limited to 5 minutes or less, and we remind everyone that no action can be taken by the court on a matter brought up during public comment. Does anyone have anything this morning?
Hey, I've got one.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to our new emergency management coordinator that was on the job the other night when the flooding was going on, and had, I think a lot of our precinct people were out getting barricades up, and those are the kind of things that'll sneak up on you, don't let you coming, but thank you for being on top of that and trying to keep everybody safe. It's not just fires.
Yep.
There are other things that happen.
Yeah, Dwayne, did you get any sleep Saturday night? That's what I figured. Thank you for your
I
work.
delegated, so they went, yeah.
I decided to go ahead and go out with my guys, Barry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you on the radio.
Yes, sir.
Also, I want to thank all the employees that got out, and also the sheriff's office. They were out trying to take care of a lot of areas with a small group of people, and was able to coordinate that with them, and they did a really good job. And also, TxDOT was able to come out and assist everything. So it was definitely a group effort. So appreciate everybody's hard work, and there's a lot of water and a lot of areas to cover, and we made it happen. So appreciate everybody for all the hard work.
That's good, Dwayne. It's just one of those things that it's easy to take for granted that this stuff just happens and the barricades just appear, and that we all know that's not the case. So yeah,
We
thank you.
always realize how short we are on barricades when you have one of those events going on. They get pretty thin, but they work.
All right. Would anyone else have any public comment this morning? Okay. It's 10:38 and public comment is closed. So at this time, let us move to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments about any of the items on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the consent agenda. Any questions or comments on the motion or the items? All right, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, let's move to the first item of general business. Number 1, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the April 19, 2024 special voting session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, does anyone have any questions, comments on the motion or the item? Okay, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 2, review and approve the regular bills for payment. Verify payroll taxes have been filed. In order, County Treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the Treasurer's office.
So moved.
Second. I don't think there was any rebates on there.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to approve, verify, and disperse payroll. Any questions or comments on the motion or the item itself? All right, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve Motorola Solutions quote number 2597581 in the amount of $73,322.64 for the installation of equipment on 9 new Tahoes for the Sheriff's Office to be paid from general fund contingencies or budget lines determined by the county auditor. Chief, do you mind coming up and just briefly highlighting what's going on with this item?
Sure. During the talks with Enterprise, the radios were not a part of the quote. It's my understanding from the previous chief that when law enforcement agencies need to order their own radios, because if Defender Supply, who's our upfitter, were to order them, Motorola looks at that like they're just putting stuff in stock in their warehouse, whereas if a law enforcement agency actually orders it, or a county entity, then they know it's going to work, because we just don't have those things in stock. We don't leave an $8,000 radio sitting on a shelf. So this is, like I said, that's not a part of the quote that was provided by Nick, and neither is the camera system, which will be coming up as soon as we can get an updated quote. They didn't send us a correct one, so.
These are all new radios? not just the installation of old radios? Because it reads just installation, not purchase and installation.
Right, the installation is gonna be different. We do have a quote from, Dwayne over at Mobile Phones, about $3,000 for the installation.
This is installation here, not purchase.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
So the motion should read in, for the purchase of
Oh.
equipment? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I apologize.
And how much is the installation per vehicle? But that's not on
Oh, per
here.
vehicle, I don't know. I
Okay,
just know that
good.
overall it's a $3,100.
So the
What
radios that are
purchase.
coming out, the old Tahoes can't be used in these?
No, sir, we're upgrading. We have, the judge has signed an interoperability agreement with the city of Wichita Falls, and we'll now be able to listen and communicate on a limited level with the Wichita Falls Police Department and Wichita
That's
Falls
good.
Fire Department. Unfortunately, the APX 4500 radios that we currently use do not have that ability to communicate with them, and that was one of the sticking points, was you gotta upgrade to the better radios.
And I'd like
So-
to say something on that. When I worked at the police department, that was sometimes quite a hindrance as a city officer not being able to talk to a county officer or vice versa, because we do work together a lot in our community. So
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see that.
The two radio systems are compatible. They do talk to each other, so we're not asking to upgrade all 40 radios that we have out there in our vehicles. We're gonna do it slowly, and I calculated this as part of the amount of money that y'all gave us for vehicle purchase this year.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second. We need to change the wording on the,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Commissioner Muller, you're
Yeah,
good
with
with,
the
for the
Yeah.
purchase,
Purchase
uh,
and, yeah, purchase and install.
not install.
No, just
ins-
purchase.
Just purchase, okay.
Purchase of.
Okay. Margaret, does that give y'all what you need, do you think? Okay. All right, Commissioner Muller has made the motion to approve the Motorola quote for the purchase of equipment. Commissioner Beecham has seconded that motion. Do we have any questions or comments on the item or the motion itself? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. Chief, you might stay there just in case, but item number 4, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve Stalker Radar quote number 2088289 in the amount of $7,752 for the purchase of 12 in-car radar systems to be paid from Department 560 with lines determined by the county auditor. This is not just new vehicles purchased for radar systems, right?
No, sir. The radars in the new cars were also factored in on the quote, and that's, Defenders can just do those. In 2020, the vehicle purchase, we purchased 12 Stalker radars. There was an issue that's been identified over the last 3 years with those radars. Talking with a representative from Stalker, they will upgrade our radars from, every business sells a good, better, best, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got the good ones. And because of this issue, they're willing to upgrade all 12 of those radars from good to better. 12 radars for $7,000,
I
and
thought
that
that
starts
was
over a
awful
new
cheap
warranty.
to buy new radars.
Oh, no.
So this is not the purchase of 12 new.
No, sir.
This is to upgrade software, basically?
No, sir, it's a whole new system. It's pretty much a new radar. It comes with a new warranty and,
So
it's a whole new setup, new heads, new display, everything.
We're trading in our old ones for an
Yes, sir.
upgrade.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're gonna
Because
turn those in, the
the
remaining
quote
ones.
doesn't make any sense either, because there's no price on anything. It's all, just, everything's zero, so.
Yeah, the backup information.
Yeah, it's the difference of the price between the good and the better. It's that difference, that's all we're making up,
Okay.
is what that would cost. Instead of paying $4,000 for a new radar per unit, we're only paying $7,000 for 12
4 year, yeah, so essentially getting 4-year newer equipment that's better.
with a 3-year
That's-
warranty.
that's a good deal.
For $7,000, that's a good one, good deal.
Yeah.
These better ones won't pick up a fiberglass car, will they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And further away than what we're currently using, so.
And they're car-mounted units?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve
Second.
with the Do we need to change?
I don't think we need to change anything on that.
Okay.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the Stalker Radar quote number 2088289. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item itself? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. Item number 5, receive and discuss the March 2024 Auditor's Report. Is someone going to make that report, or?
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer questions or anything like that.
Okay.
Not really a whole lot to present.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on March 2024 Auditor's Report? Okay. Mike, great presentation. All right, then we'll move on to item number 6, receive and discuss the March 2024 Treasury Report from Stephen Jones, County Treasurer. Mr. Jones?
Most of it's basically the same as every month. A lot of them changed. There's one big change that I do want to mention because it goes into both the Treasurer's Report, because we do talk about all the liquid assets we have, and tax pool is considered liquid. And it's also on the investment report because it's required to be shown there. But we opened, and in December, you guys voted that we could open a Texas class account, which is the same thing as tax pool. It's just another company, a different, what's it called? Local government investment pool. That's it. Local government investment pool, just like tax pool. And the idea there is for diversification, so we can have that money in 2 different areas, because those different entities invest in different things. Gives us a little bit more stability and safety. And also the Texas class is a little more user-friendly than tax pool, and gives us the opportunity to get same-day access as opposed to 24 hours. So we've moved about half from tax pool over to Texas class.
Or the percentages?
Oh yeah, the rates are almost the same. Some months, and I put those rates on there too. Some of them, their Texas class is up by just a tiny bit, and some of them tax pools up by just a tiny bit. So it's fairly the same. And they're pretty close to exactly the same. So
That meets with the liquidity and safety plan, so.
oh yeah. Other than that, the let's see what I named it.
The cash balance.
The cash balance, yeah, we're right on the curve there. We went down a little bit in March, which is what we were expecting, because we're at the top of the sine curve and starting to go down. So the money that we're bringing in is now being spent, and it'll start going back up again October, November, just like it did last year.
And that's probably going to be the case for us over the next year and a half or so, as we continue to spend ARPA money and draw that down. The cash balance will
It should go down some, yeah.
go down some, but
I
in a
think,
very healthy spot.
yeah, I think a lot of that has to be spent in the next couple of years. So, and that is a big wad of cash from ARPA. Other than that, we haven't made any loan payments because we don't have any due until September is the next one. So,
For the LEC?
yes.
Kind of nice not having extra loans out there for the county.
Yeah, that's the main one. And then, I mean, we still owe a big fat amount on that, but it's the only one we have right now.
And I think you said this last time, Stephen, the LPPF, it's apples to apples. It's all
Yes, I
taken
took it out
all
of there.
them.
It's
Okay.
not shown in the total cash, so we really just manage that, and we get a fee every year for managing it, so
Okay.
Fees, 20%?
it's 20,000.
20,000.
20% would be nice.
20% would be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20-something.
Renegotiate that for that. That's fine.
Yeah, you're welcome to try. I don't think they'd be willing to go for that,
Yeah, I
but
think that's set.
yeah. And honestly, for the amount of work we put in, we're getting paid way overpaid.
That's set by state legislation.
Yeah.
That's nothing we can negotiate.
Yeah, don't send me to negotiate, because I'm like, we're getting paid that much for only cashing a few checks and then writing some? That's the job to have. Other than that, nothing else has really changed. Everything's right on course.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments?
Stephen, do you have the paper for them to sign?
Believe, I don't have any papers with me. I think it was attached to the one I had sent.
I was looking at it, I didn't see it.
Okay, I'll have to get that to you. I don't think I got the one back last month either.
Well, we'll trade you. We'll trade you the signed one for for this month's. Any other questions? Okay, let's move along to item number 7. Receive and discuss first quarter 2024 Wichita County investment report from Stephen Jones, County Treasurer. Mr. Jones.
Okay, first quarter was really simple. We had nothing mature in first quarter, which means that we get closer to things going down. So our weighted average maturity goes down, continues to go down, well below policy on that, which is really nice. We did invest some of the money that came in a laddering strategy I've been working on to extend out this interest rate as national rates start to go down. And then this month already we have, let me get the number on, 3.3 million that have matured, and then 3 million we put back into CDs, which are going to retain their interest rates for those 2 years. So,
Has the recent sort of shift in what the Fed may be
That's what I
looking
was
at,
gonna
has
ask.
that changed strategy, or is it still too early to tell?
it's basically they're saying the same thing. It's just been pushed out a little bit farther. So we're still getting in up to the day we buy something, they're adjusting their rates at the bank to follow through with that. So
They were saying 3 drops, and
yeah,
now they're talking about there might even be an increase later on in the year. So
yeah,
it seems to really be pushed out.
yeah.
So
It's hard to understand what they're going to do.
Yeah, economics is
They're
not
not
a
following
science.
normal patterns at all.
No, the patterns were thrown out the window with
Yeah.
COVID. There's nothing that makes sense. So we do the best we can. So with these rates locked in, we're making quite a bit of interest off of those.
So I wanted to ask about page 5 and.
The
I
red
know
numbers?
I know the answer, yeah.
Okay.
If you read the balance sheet, it shows that all of our investments are in the red.
Yeah, it's a technicality. Like you said, you already know the answer, but for everybody else that may have that question, we purchase at face value. So if we buy $1 million agency bond, which is the difference there, the agency bond, we pay face value for it. Then whatever the interest we're going to get over the total life of it, we take that away, and that becomes our market value. So if we were to sell it, we would have to take a
Sell
loss
little
on it at
loss.
that time. So any of these, like on the portfolio of maturity, any of them that have a red number as far as gain or loss, that would be what if we would lose if we sold it today
It's the
or
current,
that day.
the current face value.
Yeah.
Not the projected value.
Right, which is
over-
why all
over
these
time.
ones that are not going to mature until 2027, we basically have to hold on to, because we would lose a lot of money if we tried to sell it today.
Right, and that one big one at the bottom.
Yeah,
is
that's
not
the-
doing us any favor.
That's the thorn in the lines,
Yeah.
Paul, because we can't get rid of it. We still owe, or we would lose a lot of money that we
Yeah.
won't make back.
And we've taken some other investments in the past that we could sell at a loss and actually use that money at a higher rate
Yeah.
and make that loss back up quickly.
And we've gone through those numbers. Mike is really good at that. We've gone through those numbers, and if it were possible to sell it now, even if somebody would buy it,
Yeah.
the amount we would make on the better interest is not gonna make up for the loss.
So it's not that we're losing money in the red.
No, it's
just-
gonna stay
showing
there, and we'll get the
actual
same
value.
amount back eventually, but
Okay. Just for the benefit of anyone that
Sure.
just picks this up and reads it, we're
yeah, and
actually doing a pretty good job.
It's not an actual gain or loss.
No, it's, at this point.
it just has to be
it's
shown
just-
that way by accounting standards.
It's an accounting entry, basically, at this point.
Yeah, it's current market value. If we were in some sort of position where we needed this money back right now, we would have to take those losses. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna wait until it matures and get it all back. So, which is why those red numbers, as we get closer to maturity date, go smaller and smaller.
It's-
You know, you mentioned the Fed and the fact that they're kind of struggling right now because one of the toughest things in the world to try to manage is a term called stagflation.
Yeah.
And if you lived through the Carter years, you know exactly what that is and how difficult it is to manage. And boy, it's on the horizon if we're not careful.
That's why we lowered our weighted average maturity in our policy, so we're not extending ourselves way out 3 or 4 years. We have a better control over investments in a short time.
That is a difficult scenario to work out of, because if you work on one end of it, you hurt yourself on the other, and you just can't hardly climb out of the pit. But that's why smart people do that, I guess. I hope.
Yeah, I think the current situation has all the smart people scratching their heads too, so. It's based on history, and there hasn't been a history of what's going on now, so.
Yeah. All right, any other questions, comments on the investment report? Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, item number 8 is discuss, consider, and/or take action on entering into an agreement with She Price to temporarily rent space for the Office of the Justice of the Peace, Precinct 3, during a remodel of their current Iowa Park office. I am going to ask that we table this for one more week. Ms. Price did get back information for me for square footage and information, just didn't have enough time between getting that yesterday and then this morning to figure out what exactly we needed and what the full cost of that were going to be before I present to court. So if there's no objection, I'm going to ask that we table that until next Tuesday.
Office space is pretty difficult.
In Iowa Park,
in
yeah.
Iowa.
That
The
meets-
judge and I were walking up and down the streets looking for opportunities. So
You've got an extra room you can rent.
yeah.
We've got a good space with her at a good price.
Yeah, it
Just
would
have
work.
to get the details hammered out before presenting. So with no objection, we'll table that until next Tuesday. Nancy, if you'll just make a note. All right, item number 9, discuss, consider, and/or take action on the dispersal of collected child safety fees to the incorporated cities of Wichita County and the frequency of those dispersals as determined by Commissioners Court action. Janet, are you coming up to the microphone?
Yes,
Okay.
I provided you gentlemen with a copy of what the population breakdown is. And I'd like to start out with some things that we know and some things that were not spelled out in the statute. The things that we know is the amount, which you gentlemen have already taken action on. We collect the fee and then we pay it out. If you follow the statutes through as far as where this specific fee falls within the other fees that the tax assessor collector does collect, it's right smack dab in the middle. To the auditor's office, it makes much more sense that once it goes into the assessor's funds, that then they are the ones to disperse it out based on this allocation. After those are dispersed, then it will be up to the county auditor's office then to audit and make sure that it's dispersed correctly, the same way that we, by sample, look at the property taxes and the other things that they collect. The accounts that the assessor has are very different from any of the other bank accounts in the county. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get your hands around because we're always used to the auditor's office saying, yes, we can, or no, we can't. Mr. Smythe's accounts are completely different. He collects and they are basically 100% fiduciary. And then from that, he disperses those funds based on what statute says. We do not have a definitive frequency that's outlined in statute. We do have the fact that once it's collected, that we start out by taking 10% off the top for the county, and then we take off the amount for the unincorporated, and then after that, we disperse based on the percentages that was in the spreadsheet that I gave you. Yes, sir.
If I can just interrupt for a second. The unincorporated area, in my reading of that, is an optional. It's one that the Commissioners Court can choose to take and to use for those purposes or not. And so I think that might be a decision that the court will need to make on whether or not we want to include that unincorporated area population.
Okay. And I'll have to do some further reading, Judge, because my apologies, I didn't do any additional research on that point.
Okay.
So with what we talked about so far, are there any questions as far as the dispersal of this and things that you want to specifically talk about? And Commissioner Beecham, I apologize, there was a question that you raised earlier as far as donations. There is nothing in statute that I can find, but you may want to ask your civil attorney to opine on this, that we are not prohibited from donating the county's portion to someone else. And then the responsibility rests upon them to do what statute says that they're supposed to do with those monies.
Okay.
So,
No, that's good. Pleasant Valley and Cashin Community, they're the only two that I'm not sure would meet the criteria to receive those funds. So that might be something.
they are actually incorporated cities, sir.
So they would
Yes.
qualify. Okay.
Some of the other communities we have are not incorporated, but if you do your research on those two areas, they show that they are cities with a corporate charter.
Okay.
But they would have to have something to spend that money on that's in accordance with what it's collected for.
And that may play, sir, into your determination of who you make donations to. But yes, when they do receive the money, they must use it according to what statute defines it for.
I agree with you. I don't know that they have anything to spend that money on.
Yeah.
So I guess they could put something in place.
Yeah, the amount of money we're talking about, those
Yeah.
percentages.
Not much.
That's
It's gonna be very de
small.
minimis.
Okay, any other questions for Janet before I,
No.
Mr. Smythe to come up? Janet, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Smythe, mind coming up?
Judge, I don't normally start off a presentation with caveat, but I'm gonna tell you right now, anything I say here today is not gonna be in disrespect to any of you gentlemen. I don't have any problem with what Janet has given the court this morning. The problem we have with this matter is that this matter is 253 days old as of this morning. This court ruled on this on August 21st. I think there was a meeting on September 15th of involved parties. Mine included Susan White over to City of Wichita Falls. And at that time, I think it was decided what line it would go on. We have to have a line in everything in county government. We ought to have coffee mugs and T-shirts that says we have to have a line. The problem we have is that my office, starting in March, on March 26th and again on April 12th, is contacted by a municipality, namely the City of Wichita Falls, asking where is their funds. Now let me frame this for you. At this point in time, our office has never been a part of the conversation at any point in time in this last 253 days, with exception to the email that Cheryl sent me, our county auditor, on April 19th, as to us being part of the disbursement part of it. So we end up being a poster child for a controversy that's taken place for funds that should have been dispersed. I can tell you, under the letter of the law, statutorily, we collect them in good faith under the scope and authority of my office, and we've dispersed those funds since December to the county treasurer. You have to realize that the state of Texas started putting that $1.50 on those renewal registrations in December because they mail January renewals when? In December. We have been collecting money since December on this matter. And here we are today, 253 days later, when the horse finally got out of the barn. And the only reason why we're here today, I think this is a major point in this conversation. The only reason why we're dealing with this here today is not because somebody on this end of the equation woke up and said, you know, listen, we've been collecting this money since December. We need to pay somebody. The reason why this conversation is taking place in the context that it is today is because somebody who we owe money to is asking where their money's at, which has become a far more common concept in county government than it's ever been in quite some time. And I appreciate that the court has tried to bring a great deal of transparency and visibility. And it's a shame that things get to this point where you've got to come back before a court and try to provide an explanation for something that shouldn't done. My office had no involvement in this matter whatsoever. Many of you men have known me for a long time, and I've told you before. If our office owns something, if our office has dirty britches, I'll have a press conference on the steps of the Wichita County Courthouse and give you 2 weeks to get a crowd together. If we own it, we own it. We may end up eventually owning it because there's apparently, that's where this thing's trending toward. We're gonna mop up somebody else's mess. But I wanna make it very clear to our viewing audience, to our taxpayers, and furthermore, as far as the involvement in this matter, the culpability of who's done what and who hadn't done what, it's not my office, nor my staff. I will tell you verbatim, we can handle this. This is not the first mess that we've inherited. We can handle it, we can get them paid, and rightfully so, we need to get them paid in an expedited fashion, Judge. I can tell you we can probably get them paid here in the next 2 weeks and then get something set up very regimented. But I want to make it very clear. This is something that's 253 days old, that's going to have to be mopped up. If we inherit it, I'll have to contact Burke, Iowa Park, or any of these other ones that this morning that may fall into this equation and say, listen, this is what's happened. We've been collecting the money since December. I'm sorry you haven't gotten your money. But up until this point, my office has had no involvement in this. And I'm really, I was on the phone and spoke with the Enforcement Division of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles last week. I really don't know that I could not do an investigative referral on this deal because I'm going to tell you right now, it reeks. And it doesn't set real good in typeset. When money is responsibly collected and under the scope and authority of an office and given to another office or somewhere in county government, and it's not been dispersed for its intended purposes. Now you can say we didn't have a timeline, we didn't have it set up on a day, or we're gonna pay it quarterly, but the deal is, here's where we used to have an old saying in internal affairs. If you can't be right, at least look right. Well, let me tell you something. There's nothing that looks right about the way this is handled. There is nothing that looks right when something is this old and I've got somebody who our office has a good working relationship with that's contacted me twice as to where their funds are at, and my office is providing explanations for something we don't really have to provide an explanation for. But you know what? We did it because it's the right thing to do. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I am not happy. I don't mind it. If whoever's mad or glad, they can get glad in the same britches they got mad in. But it ain't nothing right about it. And this is becoming too much of a common occurrence in county government. Everybody in this courtroom knows it. We've all been sitting in the same movie theater watching the same damn movie for far too long. I never thought I'd be in part of the movie, but my office has ended up in this.
Well, here's where my concern is. We had a meeting back in September.
Yeah,
with
September.
all the parties involved.
Yes, sir.
Susan White, members of your office, members of the auditor's office. I was just there to officiate, I guess, for lack of a better term. And the whole point of that meeting was to iron out the details on how this was going to be dispersed. And I was under the understanding that everyone involved was on the same page to get it dispersed, and the plan was in place to do that. And apparently that's not the case.
Mark, I'll tell you, to my knowledge, and I've got my chief deputy in the audience, to my knowledge, that was the only meeting that was held. That was in September. But after September, something got put on autopilot.
Okay.
We've been collecting this money since December. Here's my deal. I think it's very convenient that it's time, when something becomes a controversy, let's hand it off to another office. I'm not going to tell you, Judge, we're not going to take this. I'm going to tell you my office has a history of coming to the aid of this court. But I want the public to know and the involved parties to know, which I'm going to take care of my own public relations. I guarantee you that. And I really don't know, and I'm going to go ahead and refer this to the Enforcement Division for a full investigation. I really don't know. Had a conversation last week that I don't know that I couldn't take this before the Wichita County Grievance Committee because my office, from an operational perception concept, has been compromised because somebody has inserted our office into a controversy when it became a controversy. So, I'm going to tell you, we're going to do what we can to help this court. I don't want that to get lost anywhere in the narrative between you gentlemen up here today. But there is a backstory to this, and the backstory is not good. And I'm going to tell you right now, as an elected official, y'all have known me, and I've worked for you for too long. Y'all know the way I run my operations.
I don't know what was decided in that meeting because it's not my purview to tell anyone how to disperse funds.
Yeah, it's
just
not. But here's the deal. Either it's readily evident that Susan White, I'm speaking probably out of turn, When she contacts me on our office on March 26th, she's under the impression that apparently they should have been getting payments since January. Because if in fact there was some inference they was going to get paid quarterly, she wouldn't be contacting me on March 26th. She'd be contacting me sometime in early April. So the inference has been, for what that's worth, and that'll get you in trouble lots of times anyway, inferring anything. But the inference has been, again, Mark, from that meeting, that apparently these municipalities were going to be paid monthly. Because she would not have contacted me on the 26th asking where their funds are at. And then contacted us again on April 12th, still wanting to know where their funds are at and if there's any reports available.
Well, let me understand moving forward. So, forgetting the past and what, starting today, the plan would be to pay those funds out of your office based on the collection and these numbers that were given this morning, percentages.
Unless we need to adjust these a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but they'd be paid out of your office, and would they be audited at the end of the year, or who does the audit at that point?
Like, I will say that Tommy's office does a great job
I
at
don't,
rectifying their numbers and their figures.
There has
Now,
to be correct, because they're going to they're sending all their stuff to the comptroller's office, and it would be scrutinized at that point, but.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles is the most stringent audit report related industry that I've ever been involved in. So we've gotten good numbers. I think I can tell the court this morning, Nikki pulled these numbers this morning. Now we reconcile these funds every Tuesday. This morning, we're at $46,881. That's where we're at. Now I don't know what money Stephen may still have. You got to realize I got an email from Cheryl, and I'm not inferring that Stephen got the money, but here's the deal: wherever it's at between the auditor's and the treasurer's office, if in fact we're going to end up dispersing it, I want the court to be the governing body that requests that dispersal be made. If in fact that's what we're going to do with this matter here this morning.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the mechanism is, because I want to make sure these agencies get paid.
So, from what Janet said earlier, and then from what you were saying, it's no problem, no issue. There is a mechanism in place for y'all to pay these municipalities. Is that right?
Judge, here's the deal. We can sit down and write them checks. We've got the spreadsheets. I can show you the money coming in. I can show you where the money went out. There's nothing missing on either end of it. I mean, as far as getting these people paid. Now, I will tell you that if we want to try to get them paid in an expedited fashion, if we have to hand deliver checks starting next week or 2 weeks from now, we'll get them paid. But then sit down and say, listen, we're going to pay y'all monthly. Do you want a check? Do you want it set up on ACH? That's all the backside of finally sitting down and saying, listen, we're going to pay you. But somehow or another, that never got built.
Yeah. When we approved this a long time ago, the one thing that was left out was the mechanism to take care of it, and I don't know that we ever got to that step. Obviously, something was done.
Well, we did have a meeting to get to that step,
Right.
with all the parties involved. And
yeah, we.
And let me just say, in that meeting, it was said that the auditor's office will distribute the money, and that's
Right.
why our office has been, every Tuesday, we give the treasurer the money, but then the auditor's office is gonna distribute it. Until Cheryl's email just recently, that's what we were under the.
Well, is the breakout clear? I mean, do we have a clear picture on what the breakout of the?
Well, and to Jan's point, it's based, and I think the judges run a set of numbers well, Barry. It's based off the census.
Right.
I mean, you can just work the math backwards off your population density and go from there. I mean, this can be done. What's sad is that it hasn't been done, and it's gotten to the point that we're here this morning discussing it in this context.
So, let me ask Janet, you, from the auditor's perspective, y'all would audit the dispersal of the funds through that. Again, I'm sure that it's gonna be spot on, but it would be audited just like the
Yes, sir.
property tax.
Yes.
Okay.
it's audited at the end of the year or before each dispersal?
It would be audited whenever we do his quarterly audits.
Okay,
We
quarterly.
pull samples of property tax, we pull other types of samples, and we look at that and
Okay.
we follow things all the way through, Commissioner.
Okay. And the intent would be to pay this monthly as it's collected?
Yeah. We don't pay anything quarterly, Commissioner. Even we daily, as far as property taxes, daily, we pay WFISD in the city of Wichita Falls. Weekly, we pay Burke City, View, and Electra. And monthly, we pay them holiday, but Holiday wanted it in that fashion. So we don't do anything quarterly. I think from a simplicity standpoint of how we disperse it, we'd like to disperse it monthly. Now, you may have a municipality that says, Tommy, we only want it every 90 days. But I'll tell you, from the way our bookkeeping is set up, and if we could do it monthly, and then if Janet, they come in quarterly and say they can look at the last 3 months and pull a random sample, I'm fine with that. Like I said, all this is captured, this data is captured at the point of transaction. There's nothing wagging in the wind as X amount of fees are missing. I mean, it's there. You can show it coming in, we can show it going out, and you've got a formula that you base your disbursement on. So it's pretty self-explanatory as far as trying to build a business model to get it out in a timely fashion.
So,
And we do need to get what we've already paid, given to the treasurer, and that certain line item, what Cheryl said would be, that check would be given to us on like today?
Yes, ma'am.
So would this take-
We can't disperse anything until we get that back.
would these dispersals take ratification from Commissioner's Court? Is it something that needs to go on the agenda?
No, they do not.
No.
Okay.
And that gets back, Commissioner, to what I was saying about the tax assessor collector's bank accounts are very different from any of the others. He has the ability to disperse any fiduciary funds that he holds at his discretion. He brings it in, he sends it out, end of story.
So mechanically, then, if the tax assessor collector's office was going to be the dispersal entity, that money would not, we'd take out the step which has happened so far of the money coming in, going to treasurer, going to that line item, then coming back, all that would be unnecessary.
It would stay with his office.
Okay,
Yeah, we end up in what they call in the whole hog.
okay.
This would have been nice to have discovered last year before we started collecting fees.
That's what I'm saying. We're 253 days into the learning curve.
Well-
If somebody said, listen, hey, at that September meeting or sometime before or shortly after, hey, listen, Tommy, hey, we'd rather y'all handle this thing lock, stock, and barrel, that's fine. But you can't get this far down the road, it become a controversy, and then say, hey, by the way, you could have been handling this all the time, or we think we're gonna hand it off to you now. That
So-
reeks.
With the meetings last year and the court orders last year, everybody was under the assumption the auditor's office was gonna do this task, correct?
That's
Is
what I'm
that-
saying.
wasn't that your assumption?
That is a correct
All right.
assumption.
So until the email came from the auditor's office saying that they weren't gonna handle it or couldn't handle it, would you handle it? That's the first time you knew of it, right?
First time
Okay.
I am part of
And the reason I
conversation.
bring that up is from the Commissioner's Court. This has nothing to do with the Commissioner's Court, because we actually approved it, we set it in motion, and we were under the assumption it was being handled. So we do appreciate you being willing to take that and do it. There is an administrative fee. Are we gonna go talk about that now? Because, you know, I'd like to negotiate that a little bit with you. And the reason I bring that up, there is an administrative fee for it, and I firmly believe that Tommy's office should get that administrative fee for taking care of everything.
What is it, 20%?
No, it's 10%. But there is just for the bookkeeping side of all of it, I did a joke with Tommy before court that we should negotiate that down a little bit, but I probably won't go there.
I appreciate
But I
it.
do, I appreciate you willing to handle it, and I think your office is very capable of doing it, so.
Commissioner
Thank you for that.
Fincannon, just for clarity, sir, the statute tells us where that fee must be deposited, the administrative fee.
Okay, what is you saying that it is?
It goes into general fund.
So if it goes in the general fund, we as the Commissioners Court could put it right back in his office.
That's correct. You have that ability. You can
Okay.
do that during budget time.
Okay,
Thank you, Janet.
that's fine. That is an item though that the court could
So-
send back to there for
That's
the
right.
work that they're doing.
It just needs to start out in the correct place, sir.
Are you fixing to ask me, Judge, how quick we can get them paid?
I was. Just from a mechanically from else.
like I said, we need to get Nikki sat down, maybe me, Nikki, and Steven sat down and, I mean, I can tell you how much money's been collected. If you want me to start writing checks and on the formula we have in hand, we'll get them paid. But systemically, I'd like to sit down with Susan or your representative from Burke or Iowa Park Electric and say, listen, how do you want this? We're gonna set it up for your convenience. If you want it ACH once a month, or you want us to send you a hard check once a month to Burke Burnett or Iowa Parkberry, that's what we'll do. But as far as getting, we're 1 day away from May. We've been collecting this since December. I'm in total agreement. We've got to get them paid. Out of the spirit of fair play, we got to get them paid, and then set up a mechanism. If we pay them monthly, like as Janet said, they come down quarterly. They can go through 3 months worth of statements, what we've done, what we dispersed. They have something to look at. I don't have any problem with this being audited, because I'm gonna tell you, really simply speaking, this will be extremely easy to audit.
I have a quick question. Should we talk to Pleasant Valley and Cashion before we determine the percentages for the other, and find out if we need to send them money?
Commissioner, I don't believe you have that freedom. You might want to check with your civil attorney, but it says that it should be dispersed to all municipalities based on population.
I don't think we can keep it.
I'm not worried about keeping it. I don't want to keep it. I'd rather, if they don't want it, here's what's gonna happen. If they're gonna receive money that they can't spend, it's gonna sit somewhere for what reason? You see what I'm getting at?
Yes, no, I see
And
what you're
I'm
getting at.
not, and I don't mean this. If you don't have money, if you're receiving money, you don't have anything to do with it. Sometimes people might spend it for something that they shouldn't,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna be violating the law because it can only.
Well, and then the thing is, Barry, it's the reason why it's called child safety fee. Most of this money, or the spirit of it, is earmarked for crossing guards or
Child safety programs.
child
which is what
safety
the city's gonna
programs. You
do
want to
with their-
restripe your school zones or whatever. So I mean, you got to ask yourself to some degree, and don't mean this in a facetious manner. To your point, Commissioner, I mean, how much of that would be spent in those unincorporated areas for those very purposes?
Well, Cashion wouldn't have a school, but they might have a bus.
Well,
bus,
the reason I say this is Cashion, most all their students go to Burke.
Yeah.
They might very well want their money sent to Burke. That's what I'm getting at as far as trying to work out the logistics of this before we just start sending the money that they
Commissioner,
can't.
that they have the ability to turn around and donate it back, but I think our hands are tied by the statute as far as what we're supposed to
Okay.
do with it.
And I think when Melvin and I visited about this, heck, I think that may have been last fall or earlier this year. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
consensus, is that we have to send it to them, and then what they do with it is coming back. I do think, because I'm looking at the statute now, we do have the option on unincorporated, which it would be my suggestion that we don't keep that money back for the county, and that goes into the pot to make the pot bigger for all of the municipalities receiving it.
I'm good with that.
Well, you don't have a vessel to
Right.
handle it.
And again, some of these municipalities, Cashion, whatever, Pleasant Valley, we're gonna have to sit down with them, because we've actually, for lack of better words, we've never done business with them before in this fashion. So you sit down and say, hey, this is this how you want this? So, I mean, this task, I mean, there's still some building days, but, you know, as far as getting it off the ground, getting them paid.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like court is in favor of y'all taking that on, doing it, and do whatever you need to do on the front end with meeting with the folks to establish that. And then I'll work on a budget amendment item for the future to talk about for the administrative fee and repurposing that.
And Tommy, if y'all get it set up on some schedule that matches something else you do, to me, that would be a win-win deal.
And that's
This is when we do this.
Exactly, Barry. That's what I'm saying. We don't pay anything quarterly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there'd be
monthly would
some-
work well for us. I mean, we could ACH them weekly, but I think probably more than likely your major municipalities in this scenario will want to be paid monthly.
So make the motion to direct the tax assessor collector's office to develop a mechanism to disperse fees to the various incorporated communities within Wichita County. by
Second.
population and at the frequency that they desire.
Second.
And as soon as all that's set up, I'll prepare a briefing to the court as a whole as to what's been done.
And I appreciate people bringing solutions today, everyone that brought solutions.
Absolutely.
Instead of continuing to have issues. This was my baby to begin with.
It was yours.
It's something that I very much have a heart for, the child safety, because it was something, one of the tasks that I performed at the City of Wichita Falls. I want to see this money go to good use within the communities. I have a pretty good idea what the City of Wichita Falls is doing with it, and I really want to see that program get off the ground, so.
Okay. Make sure that I've got this. Motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Pincannon, is to instruct the tax assessor collector's office to develop a mechanism to disperse collected child safety fees to incorporated municipalities, Wichita County, and begin paying them, or begin dispersing that money based upon an agreed upon schedule that they'll develop.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments on the motion or the item itself? Okay, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. Janet, Tommy, thank you both.
You're welcome. And Judge, I'd like to end this presentation on a positive note. I'd like to present our treasurer this morning at Wichita County Commissioners Court with our annual commission to the Texas Comptroller's Office. There's 25 offices on our website, and our office has the distinction of every year of coming over here, Mickey, and making a little bit of a donation, kind of offset thing. This morning, I'd like to give our treasurer a check for $1,170,000, $803.65 on behalf of our commission off our sales tax, Judge.
Super.
Thanks,
All right, item number 10, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and authorize county judge to sign M&F Littleton County Courthouse renovations proposal request number 84 for fourth floor flooring changes, adding drywall, doors, and hardware to create 2 storage areas at a cost of $23,869. Commissioner Beecham?
So it's kind of hard to understand all of what's going on there. So if you go down that 4th floor hallway from Child Protective Court, you know, you have the stairways at either end of the hallway, which basically makes those ends of the stairways unusable for ADA concerns. To best address that ADA concern is to basically shut those off and use those for storage areas, which is what they're being used for essentially anyway now. Just off limits to anyone but county employees, take that out of public use altogether. If y'all been up there lately, you know the condition of the floor. It's the old 8x8 gray floor tiles, and they're in poor to worse than poor condition. So that would be to replace all those tiles with new flooring, LVT flooring, and to close those ends off.
So you want to close them off?
Yeah.
Just for storage, but put new flooring in it for storage?
No, the flooring's going in the public area, not in the storage area. No,
Okay.
we'll stop the flooring. No, just cleaning up the public area. So the elevator lobby, the hallway, outside of CPS court.
The door, the new to, let's see. The new door, we're doing new doors, new frames at the
Yeah,
end of each.
at the end of each hallway.
Still up those
Still
stairs?
up the stairs. You'll be able to go up the stairs to the landing, but it won't be accessible to the public.
I'm not doing anything with the rooms and the way the offices are arranged behind those doors?
No,
Okay.
no. I know Brendan still be able to use his area up there in the corner for training purposes of staff, but it won't be a public access area.
We're not gonna be doing asbestos abatement anymore.
Yeah, the floor
Oh, that
is
says
abatement.
abatement.
Yeah, it's included because Brigel's doing the flooring.
There's a note on this that talks about right in front of the elevator lobby, provide new LVT flooring and install rubber base. That wasn't in the shaded area, so is it just at the top of the stair landing up there, or is it also
We
running
were
back?
already doing that as part of the original
Okay.
project, so it all gets done to match.
Doors aren't cheap.
Not much is.
Not much is, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so do we have any other questions or a motion?
I will say this before I make the motion.
Okay.
If you remember, a week ago, we took action to remove an item that was already approved. Those funds are just almost the same as what we're putting back in on this, so it's no additional money to the project. We just redirect those funds that were already accounted for earlier on in the project to this.
Is the drywall, is that, where is that again related to the door and
To the
top of
doors,
the?
yeah, to the doors. So it'd be my motion to approve.
I'll second that, Judge.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve proposal request number 84 and authorize the county judge to sign request number 84 at a cost of $23,869. Any other questions, comments on the item or the motion? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. Item number 11, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and authorize county judge to sign M&F Litigants Courthouse 2021 renovations proposal request number 85 to install secured entry on the west side of courthouse, including fencing, canopy, and wall infill for an additional $14,903. Commissioner Beecham?
Yes, this goes back to the request during our safety review of the courthouse, the judge's safety review. This is dealing with our back entrance right below us here, where it's, you get out of vision when you go down in the area under the stairway. It's a good place for mischief to occur. This whole ad brings the entrance out into the visible public and closes off that area completely from the front. Right now, it's open with a piece of plywood that we've got stuck up there to control debris coming in. Instead of the plywood, it will receive the granite panels just like the rest of the building, so they'll be enclosed to look like the rest of the building. For lack of a better term, lean-to or whatever, the new entranceway would be metal fabricated, metal fencing type material.
Was, from the standpoint of the canopy, and how is that gonna affect drainage over there during really heavy rains? And the reason I'm asking this is, we do have, when we got a lot, some of that does come down the stairs into that drain that's down at the bottom, that'll be closed off. I guess it's such a small amount that,
It should stop some of it from coming down there because it'll it'll move it out into the flower bed, so not going straight down the stairs.
So the security point will be at the gate, not the door?
Yeah, it won't be, yeah, it'll be at the new box, the extension of that entranceway, so it'll extend out to where the sidewalk turns and you'll enter there.
So the door won't be
Yeah,
locked?
it won't be down. It'll be, that door will be locked. You'll have a key card access at both that entranceway and the glass door.
So you'll have two key card
Two
entrances.
key card entrances.
Okay, and the ultimate, I've gotta ask, the ultimate goal of this is to stop traffic from going down the stairs?
To keep anyone from being down in the stair.
Because right now, when you walk around the corner and you look down the stairs, you can tell if there's somebody there. There's nowhere to hide. I mean, you can visibly tell if there's somebody there because I've walked in there before. I mean, so all this is really doing is bringing your blind spot to say 10 feet further around the corner. Because when you come around the stairs, somebody could still be laying underneath the tree.
Yeah.
True?
Well, that's why all the stuff's been removed, so.
But you can
That's
still,
part-
I
yeah,
mean,
no.
if you look there at the deal right now, you can see there's a nice shady spot on each side of the tree. You can lean up there and hide. So if somebody's gonna stay there, they can still stay there. So I just,
It
I
was
can't
an
see
ask
the-
on the safety plan, so
Right.
I'm
I don't know.
I'm not championing it either way. It's just an ask on the safety plan.
Mark?
If you added a security gate, that'd be one thing, but having to do two right there together is pretty unhandy.
To what?
We gotta come through the
Having
gate,
two
we gotta come through the door.
badges.
And this is just my opinion. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I love the granite block off on the other side. If we're gonna do this, why not put a real door right there at the top of those stairs with a key access, it's a secured entry, and not have a fenced area or a canopy, just make that the entry. That way you stop all water from going down the stairways. Nobody can get in the stairways. It's a
Fully
secure,
visible
it's
from
a,
the street.
it's a secured access door. I don't understand why we wanna build a chain link pin to make people walk into with a little canopy over it. I'm just voicing my opinion here though, but I read it and looked at it and I was like, and not everybody carries their stuff in, but some of us carry stuff in back there, and so I set all my stuff down and set it all down at the first fence gate, unlock that one, set all my stuff in, close that gate, walk down the stairs and set all my stuff down, open another key gate.
Yeah, I can certainly
It
take
just
it
doesn't
back.
seem like
Yeah.
a real,
Are you saying the door where the current granite infill is, or a
Yeah.
door where the stairway is?
where the,
Over the stairway.
Before
Where-
you go down
where
the
the,
stairs.
no, well, where the stairway's at. Just
Okay,
put a
where the
solid-
stairway
a
is,
solid
on the
door
north
there.
side.
No, yeah, on the north side.
Okay.
Cause I still think the plywood on the south side looks a little tacky.
It does look tacky. It was just there temporarily and it
Well,
worked
it's
so
not-
well,
it's
it's
not-
just
it's
stayed
not
there.
secure. It's not secure.
But I mean, it is better than having that wind circle there and all that trash stored down at the bottom.
Right.
So, but I don't know that,
I just think having one door at the top of those stairs would be a whole lot more convenient.
just cleaner, more secure.
I can take it back and
Well, okay, for every key door you have, you've got something to go wrong. And it will at some point, you know. And we've had really good luck. In fact, that old deal's getting in pretty bad shape down there, that deal. But I'm just saying, boy, the more mechanisms you put in place, the more long-term problems. I just as soon have one entry level at the D, and you've got full visibility from the street, looking back up into that deal.
no, you got a little wing wall that comes over. You don't see
Yeah,
it
you
all
could,
the way.
either way, I mean, no matter which way you go, you're still gonna have a blind
It'll
spot
be
there
better.
that's not
It's
gonna
still
be.
gonna
Yeah.
be better.
Well, before you walk up in there, you'll know somebody's standing there, I guess is the deal. You know, before you turn the corner,
Yeah, that was the concern of getting down in that area and
Yeah,
not
that's
having
kind
a
of
way out. You kind of trapped back in this whole corner.
yeah, it's
And it's
single,
not- it's not very
egress,
visible.
regress, so.
I think it'd be worth seeing what it would cost to just do a door there at the top.
I'll pull it for today and.
Okay.
Be a lot simpler deal, I think. And achieve the same thing, basically.
Yeah. And they were confident on the granite infill, be able to get,
Yeah,
good.
Same color.
it's what we took off the backside of the building.
It's definitely the same color.
Yeah, It's the same stuff.
Okay. Do you wanna table that until next week or a date on?
Yeah, I'll table it until I can get a new PR.
Okay. Is there any objection to tabling that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. All right, item number 12, receive update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner Beecham.
Got a lot going on.
Mhm.
Should be painting the inside of the tax office this week. They've got it textured. They should start painting as early as tomorrow. If you haven't been up to the 30th District Court lately, it's moving very quickly. You can walk in there now and see what it's gonna look like. Of course, none of the paneling's put up yet, but you can see the structure all in place. That's moving well. Flagpoles are partially up. The flagpole holders are up. I'm gonna hold off and saying they're gonna be, they should be up by the end of the week. Of course, I've been saying that for 3 years now. The neon signs up. There was a tube broken when it was installed. They're ordered a new tube, so it's not fully working, but 90% working, and it looks tremendous. So, had a lot of great comments on what that looks like. So,
The concrete, you may have been about to get to that, but I think that's worth.
Yep. Yeah, the concrete job that we approved a couple of weeks ago in front of the courthouse, we did get a 4+ inch rain here at the courthouse Saturday and got no water in.
That's great.
Where we typically get water. I'm not ready to call it a complete
Sure,
win
finish,
yet,
yeah.
but.
If it slows
but-
it down, that's good.
But we did accomplish something with that, so. And Rick's crew's continuing to work on landscaping and stuff around the courthouse, and it's starting to look nice and clean, and got more to come.
Good deal. Any questions on item number 12? All right, thank you. All right, so at this time, we are going to go into closed session for a briefing and discussion with Wichita County District Attorney's Office regarding pending or contemplated litigation in reference to the flood of the 30th District Court caused by an employee of James Lane Air Conditioning and Plumbing pursuant to Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071. So at this time, I will ask everyone except our attorney to vacate the courtroom. Thank you.
Red button.
Thank you. I would have forgotten. All right, it is 12:21 p.m. We are back in open session. And at this time, the Commissioners Court will be taking no action on closed session items. So with that, it is still 12:21 and court is